Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the prime time edition of newscasts in the English language on Canal de International. I'm called Maureen. We'll begin with our top stories. The National Council for the Approval of Textbooks and Didactic Material has sent warning signals to schools that have imposed additional textbooks on parents, a disturbing and business design fraudulent action that has increased the burden unnecessarily on our parents. Cameroon joined the rest of the world today to celebrate the International Day of Peace. Our newsroom took interest in knowing what Cameroonians feel as far as peace within the nation is concerned. Meantime, peace crusader Tumfo Nico Hale says there is an urgent need for the world, a moral rearmament for peace to be fully embraced by nations. Those are major stories. Details right ahead. The National Council for the Approval of Textbooks and Didactic Material has sent warning signals to schools that have imposed additional textbooks on parents, a disturbing and business design of fraudulent action that has increased the burden unnecessarily on parents. They decry the situation these days in Yaoundé while sending a sensitization call for parents to denounce the black business. More on that story with our reporter, Hi Sencha.
There are about 50 of them, authors and book publishers, whose books have been massively used in private nurseries, primaries and secondary schools across the country. Books not included in the government official book list. Worse still, some schools have completely discarded the official book list and drawn up theirs in collaboration with unauthorized publishers, and the books falls on learners and parents. A practice the National Council for the Approval of Textbooks and Didactic Materials says must stop with immediate effect.
I have a list of the schools that are doing that. We are aware. We are targeting them. And of course, they will be punished. Eventually, they will be punished. Sometimes justice takes a long time, but it eventually happens.
Before the men and women of the press, this Wednesday in Yaoundé, they call on school proprietors and managers to succumb to the authorized books with content carefully designed to meet the demands of the new educational curriculum.
We are targeting proprietors of schools. We are telling them that it is their duty to make sure that books that are not validated are not used in their schools. Every nation has targets. And the target of Cameroon for education is a new system of education. If parents don't know this, you'll be made to buy books that are not written based on the curricula that have been put in place.
And in various bookshops in Yaoundé, the sellers confirm that most parents coming for books will always come along with an additional list prescribed by the institutions.
Some come with the list, but supplementary. Yes, like supplementary workbooks.
The council equally regrets that the fictitious books with a terrible content are sold to parents at exorbitant prices. Even nursery 1, with only 3 books prescribed by the state, mathematics, English and French, for 1,000 francs each. Some schools have added the number to about 10 books, a heavy load for the little brains.
Today is commemorated worldwide as the International Day of Peace. Meantime, peace crusader Tumfo barrister and Nico Hale says there is an urgent need for world moral rearmament for peace to be fully embraced by nations and citizens to enjoy the fruits of their labor. The peace crusader also talks of a fragile foundation of peace. Let's watch this report. The number of conflicts in recent years has increased. Violence in countries like Cameroon, Syria, Afghanistan and others has turned back decades of economic, social and political developments. Wars have resulted in enormous human suffering and crimes against human rights. And the list is long. Peace crusader Tumfo barrister Nico Hale is troubled.
The entire world is littered by chaos, anarchy, disorder, total disorder, wars, citizens, violence all over the place. So what are we celebrating? So what are you celebrating? That is in a period when we ought to sit down, all of us, and meditate, reflect, and pray.
To the peace crusader, the only way is to have a serious chance of dealing with the root causes of poverty and conflict is the capacity to contribute to sustainable peace needs to be strengthened.
The platform on which peace should exist does not exist. And when I talk about a platform, there must be love. There must be justice. There must be equity. There must be transparency.
Peace building, he insists, is a long-term process that should include society at large.
Hate speech is now escalating because of the absence of the core moral values. As long as those core moral values are not, I want to say, espoused, nothing good will happen.
This year's theme, End Racism, Build Peace, is aimed at building a world where compassion and empathy overcome suspicion.
International Peace Day. The next year we come up with another theme, and we have not evaluated what we have done to consolidate what we celebrated last.
The International Day of Peace comes at a time when some parts of Cameroon are in conflict, causing thousands of people to constantly flee to safer areas as they fear for the unknown. Financial inclusion, which promotes access and the use of high-quality financial services, particularly among poor people, is crucial to achieving inclusive growth across the globe. Women disproportionately face financial access barriers that prevent them from participating in the economy and from improving their lives. This problematic was at the center of a workshop here in Douala, which gathered more than 80 women. More in the following story. Major challenges such as access to credit limit the ability of women to grow from the informal to the formal sector or exploit the same economic opportunities as the men. In Cameroon, statistics have shown that more than 90% of women do not have an account with a formal banking institution and therefore cannot benefit from the credit.
Business of women are always at the subsistence level. They are tiny, so the money that they harvest out of that business are still small, so they cannot move to another level while they are hardworking. You know, when you take in terms of time spent in business, women work very, very hard, but they don't reap the benefits of their work.
Before, we know the natural or the normal savings or maybe platforms or avenues which we have with Jangis in our local, our communities where most women have subscribed to, and we have bank savings which procure interest over time.
The women are conscious of these limitations and are bent on changing the narrative. More than 80 women turned out at this workshop in Douala, September 20, with focus on the importance of savings and loans for women entrepreneurs.
With the advent of technology, we are just telling them today that they have to open up and embrace the new orientations that have been given to financial products, one of which is savings. That today they have the opportunity to subscribe to the savings product or the savings options that are on Ijara, which is the savings and investment platform. It's a mobile application actually.
The organization New Faces, New Voices Cameroon has as major objective supporting the financial inclusion of women across the globe. A 3-day international seminar on the appropriation of legal instruments ratified by the state for the promotion and protection of persons with disabilities has kicked off in Yaoundé, an initiative of the National Association for the Blind in Cameroon and of the Francophone Blind Union, aimed to reinforce the capacity of the leaders of the associations so they can function harmoniously in the society. More on the story with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamo.
The main objective of the international seminar is to ensure the rights of persons with disabilities are further promoted, protected and guaranteed to enable them better integrate in the society, especially because of their vulnerability and social difficulties. Occasion to highlight different conventions, legal and institutional frameworks relating persons of these persons, their protection and safety, echoed loud and clear by the Minister of Social Affairs, Pauline Irengene, and Chairman of the Cameroon Human Rights Commission, James Mwange Kobila, respectively. High time for the leaders in charge of associations of these persons with disabilities to know what has and is being done and how they should exploit to their advantage, especially in line with the more inclusive society. The initiative by the National Association of the Blind of Cameroon, ANAC, and Francophone Blind Union, UFA, with President Commissioner Paul Tezano, is to broaden the advantages and wipe out obstacles they encounter, especially as it is their rights. Areas of discussions will cover the Marrakesh Treaty, African Charter on Human and People's Rights, UN Convention on Rights of Persons with Disabilities, impact and challenges of the ongoing ratification, the 2010 Decree on the Promotion and Protection of Rights of these persons, government measures for the employability of persons with disabilities in Cameroon, the new Human Rights Commission, its mission, vision, actions in favor of people with disabilities, and more. 3 days of in-depth deliberation on the appropriation of the legal instruments and political inclusion of persons with disabilities in the country.
And with days narrowing down to back to school at the level of universities, freshmen have begun registration into various public and professional university and activity. According to New Timers, it's stressful at the University of Douala. School administrators say they are taking measures to facilitate the registration of the New Timers or freshmen. More on the story with our reporter, Stephanie Chin.
As universities begin opening their doors for the 2022-2023 academic year, students have engaged in the enrollment procedure into their various departments. According to New Timers, it is a process which entails a lot and challenges unavoidable.
En inscription, j'ai rencontré, comme par exemple, comme discuté, le site en ligne. Lorsque je téléchargeais les fiches, c'est pas la fiche que j'ai téléchargée avec les gars qui se mettent sur un dehors. C'est pas ça que j'ai téléchargé. Donc j'ai dû arriver ici pour télécharger la fiche. Beaucoup d'élèves actuellement.
Actually, many students do not know technology. Many parents do not permit students to touch machines. Some of these students are accompanied by their relatives as they go about registration in order to be guided. I accompanied her because I wanted to. I saw it's important. Because just like them, I equally went through the process, and from the beginning it was necessary to be accompanied in order to manage the little stress I had and equally to ensure all goes well. It's our first time to enter a bank and manage a huge sum of money. So some school authorities, measures have been taken to facilitate the registration process for new timers. We have put in place all measures necessary to facilitate the process of registration for new students. All departments have been represented at the level of this center to inform students of various fields offered. Going about the registration process, one can deduce expressions of mixed feelings in the young people, the feeling of frustration and that of excitement as they prepare for a new journey in their academic career.
Today, primary school children carry big and heavy bags to and from school. This because of increase in the number of subjects and its associated exercise and textbooks. The children are comfortable with these bags. Our reporter Udmo Kusumi visited some schools in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé, has story.
It is 12:30 p.m. here at Government Primary School Complex Etudi in Yaoundé. Pupils smiling and playing very happily because it is time to go home. The day is over. Contents of their school bags depend on the classes they belong. Though very big in the eyes of many, the little ones feel at ease carrying their bags around. 9 exercise books, textbooks, pen, pencils, and boards are some of the materials found in this little class 5 girl's bag. Even now at this, teachers explain due to the number of subjects studied per day. In primary school, we teach about 8 subjects the same day. That is why the children need to have all the books for the subjects. Though the children are not complaining, parents decry the load, saying their children always come home looking very tired. Each time my son comes back home, he complains that he has back pains. He can't even play. We are obliged to always go to the pharmacy to buy drugs. Additional loads such as lunch bag and water containers do exist also. While others have additional hand luggage for that, many carry all inside their bags.
And that brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. Take another rendezvous. Same time tomorrow. Good night.